Hey, from New Jersey, it's the SNL Nerds, the show where two comics from New Jersey nerd out about Saturday Night Live. I'm your co-host, Darren Patterson.
And I'm your co-host, John Trumbull.
John Trumbull, it's the end of the season. We did it.
We did it. We made it through another one. This is, what, we started this in, season 44, 2018, I think?
Yeah,
right?
Wow. Yeah. I mean, yeah, now we're, if we had, a child, that child would be like a 5-year-old. Just toddling around.
Well, it's a good thing we didn't conceive a child at the very beginning of this podcast.
John, I have something to tell you.
Oh, shit.
He has your eyes.
Wow. I don't know whether to be horrified or impressed.
Well, I expect either way, I expect your child support payments in the mail, post haste.
You've gotten by for 5 years without any help from me. I think we're good.
Deadbeat dad. I see.
Yep.
Okay. Wow. Barefoot and pregnant. That's how they leave you, ladies.
This episode took a turn.
It's so late. It's late at night.
So, yeah, we are recording this episode later than usual just because of how the scheduling worked out this week. And Darren gets loopy late at night, apparently.
Things are going to get weird.
I don't usually talk to you at this hour, but yeah, we're recording this at close to the time that we'd actually be watching SNL.
Yes. Darren After Dark.
Yes, and yeah, SNL Nerds After Dark. And this week we're talking about the season 49 finale with Jake Gyllenhaal as the host and Sabrina Carpenter as the musical guest. It's season 49, episode 20 from May 18th, 2024.
Yeah. Wrap it up. They got Jake Gyllenhaal, his third time hosting. A man who I'd say is very comfortable, with these sketches, very comfortable hosting.
Mm-hmm.
He definitely puts his all into every sketch. I will say that.
He is the main thing that I want in an SNL host, in that he is game for just about anything, and he throws himself into it 110%. And you can't ask for much better for an SNL host. And he's a talented, charismatic actor, so I'm looking forward to him hosting.
Yeah, no, absolutely. Overall, I have some issues with some of the sketches here tonight, but I will say it's not because of him. He's putting in 110%.
Yeah. Any problems that there might exist in some of the sketches, and there are a few that have problems. Yeah, he's never what's wrong.
Yeah.
So that's good.
Absolutely. So shall we dive in for the final show of the season, good sir?
Let's dive in. Let's get all our hot takes, all the hot goss.
Let's do it. One last ride.
Yeah. You make it sound like it's our last episode ever.
Is this not like Thelma and Louise, or are we just going to drive off the cliff in a convertible?
I assume that is how our podcast is going to end someday,
yes.
But with a murder-suicide. But
yeah, then we'll finally get some reviews.
Yeah, exactly. So to start out, we have Summer of Trump cold open. This is sort of the now traditional SNL cold open, where it's we don't know what sort of insanity is going to happen with Trump over the summer, so this is sort of our goodbye sketch to him.
Absolutely. And
which it seems like they've been doing for most of the last 5 years.
Yes, very much so. And cold open written by Allison Gates, James Austin Johnson, Colin Jost, and Kent Sublett.
Yes. So it's, what we've been seeing a lot of the last few weeks is Trump coming out after his trial, and despite his gag order, he's talking to the press.
Just can't shut up.
Yeah. Because, God forbid he makes anything not about him. Well, I guess this is sort of about him. I'll be fair. It's his trial. Yes,
absolutely. And so he's outside the barricades of his courthouse, and he's talking to the people. Because he likes talking out here with the people, because inside the courtroom they say mean things about him while he's trying to sleep.
Yeah. He says they're trying to send me to a horrible place I don't want to go, the White House, and how he explains how he doesn't actually want to win the election. He just wants to lose and keep bitching about it because it's very lucrative for him.
That
Which,
yeah,
I
I
mean,
don't doubt that. That's
where's the lie?
yeah, he absolutely believes that 100%.
Oh yeah, and I'm convinced he never wanted to win in the first place.
No, this is all
Um,
a grift.
Yeah, it was all a grift because he supposedly he wanted to start like a new cable channel or something like a Fox or Newsmax type thing, and that was going to be his thing, and he was running for president to boost his profile. I mean, I find that very plausible.
Yes, for
Um,
sure, absolutely. This is all business ploy, and
yeah,
now here we are. Just
but I liked Sarah Sherman very briefly popping up as a juror who ends up on camera. She looks horrified and then just quickly dashes off,
yeah, like
not
for a
even a
minute, I
line
thought
said.
like Sarah like came in early and went like she missed her cue. I was like, oh, did she fuck up? And
Oh,
then
you
after,
thought that was a genuine mistake? That's cute.
yes, I really did. I thought she like came in too early or something.
Trump had a good line after that. He says, they call her juror 9, but I think she's a 6 maybe. And
Yeah,
it's something I hadn't really considered that. Yeah, a lot of these jurors are probably going to be targeted by the more fanatical Trump supporters, and going to try and dox them and stuff like that. And
yeah, yeah. I know it's terrifying.
that ain't cool.
It ain't cool, but if it ain't, it ain't cool, but it is Trump.
Yeah, it's the world we live in, unfortunately.
Yeah.
And we have several cast members popping up as the various Republicans who are coming out to the Trump trial to support him slash suck up to him for the possible VP slot. We have Devin as Tim Scott, Heidi as Christy Noam, and Michael Longfellow as Hannibal Lecter, who for some reason Trump has been mentioning at his rallies lately.
Yeah, and it's like, oh, rest in power, Hannibal Lecter, great guy, or something. Like it, I don't even. My head hurts
And
just
I thought it was
thinking
just
about
like a one-time thing that he talked about Hannibal Lecter, and I'm just like, oh, okay, that's his dementia or whatever is going on with him. But no, apparently, but then I saw like a montage of, but so apparently that's a regular part of his stump speech now.
it.
No idea.
This is our reality now.
Yeah, it's really weird, right?
Yeah, no, it is. It is very
We're
much so. It's very
we're,
strange.
we're living in crazy town. Yeah.
Yeah. I did like Heidi coming out as Christy Nome at that. Like as she comes out, she has a gun to
Hmm.
a dog's head, and of course,
Right.
people's were like sounded
Very
horrified.
very National Lampoon cover. Yes.
Yes, exactly. And then she's like, "Oh, just kidding, guys. The dog is fake, but the gun is real."
Yes. I was kind of surprised that they didn't have anybody playing Lauren Boebert there because, like, she's also part of that gang who's out there, and she's like ripe for parody.
She
So
is, but I don't think she's. Well, I mean, then again, Tim Scott really hasn't either. But like, I was gonna say she hasn't really said or done anything insane recently
yeah,
to warrant her
I
being
mean,
in there.
we could have this got a mention and we get an update, but they could have done something with Marjorie Taylor Greene since she had that insane back and forth in Congress this week.
I think because that happened on like Friday or something, right? Like that thing dropped.
Oh, okay, yeah,
So
maybe it
maybe,
was it
yeah,
was
maybe
just too
they.
close to air date. Yeah.
That's the only reason I could think of. I was like, because like they definitely would have done something with this with like Heidi and Ego or something like that. But I think because that dropped, I'm talking about like it's a mixtape, but
Yeah,
like that came out
it
like
will be one before
yeah,
long.
oh, when that new Bobert dropping. But yeah, like that. But like that news came out kind of closer to Saturday, so like I think at that point they're like, we can't write a whole new sketch for that.
Yeah, okay. Yeah, that makes sense. That makes
Uh,
sense.
yeah, but overall, I didn't mind this cold open that much. I think it's because, like, JJ has this really great impression, and like
Hmm.
every time he comes out and does it, he kind of just drones on, just him talking straight into the camera, like
Yeah.
random thought to Trump. And like when he does that, I find it kind of hit and miss. But with this, they kind of they kind of chop it up with like other people popping in.
Yeah, there was a little more interaction, so that was
Yeah,
good.
so we get a little, so the Trump isms kind of stand out a little bit more, and
Hmm.
it's like one of those things like a little bit of Trump goes a long way. So like I
It
do like
really
it how
does,
they,
even in parody form. And
yeah.
yeah, and I've said before. I mean, I find even impressions of Trump tough to watch these days, just because I am so sick of him as a human being.
Yeah, I know, but yeah,
Uh,
but like this cold open, I didn't mind. It wasn't too long.
mhm.
They have Trump talking about how he's going to sell Trump Bibles and Trump Torahs for the Jewish
Yeah,
people.
yeah,
Um, yeah,
yeah. It
this
was
one I didn't
decent
mind.
enough.
Huh?
It was decent enough.
Decent enough. Yes, I'll say that.
Yeah.
Cold open, decent enough.
And it occurred to me when I was watching the opening credits, I was like, oh, you know what? Since next season's the 50th season, we're probably going to have a new beginning next season because we've had this one for like a couple years now, right?
It's been a year or two. Yeah, like for the 50th, we're definitely going to get some new graphics, and I for one cannot wait.
Yeah, I mean, it's always fun when they debut a new opening credits and you get to see everybody's new cast shot.
Hmm.
And it's I've been listening to the Seth Meyers and Lonely Island podcast lately, the
Right.
last few weeks, where they've been going through all the Lonely Island shorts week by week. Um, and they they kind of talked about the opening, and they were like, "Did you ever have a shot in the opening credits that you didn't really like?" And I was like, "Oh, they think about it just as much as we do."
Yeah, the celebrities, they're just like us.
Yeah, it was fun. And that's a fun podcast.
Yeah, give that
I'd,
podcast a
I'd
listen.
imagine most of our listeners have at least checked that out, and I think it's fun.
I would, you know what? Yeah, pretty much. I'm
Yeah,
sure they would. But yeah, if you haven't, give it a listen. It's pretty fun stuff.
give them the SNL nerds bump.
Yeah,
So
tell them the nerds sent you.
yeah, and then they'll be like, "Who?" And we'll all laugh. This podcast isn't very popular, folks.
We live in obscurity.
We really do, but we've come to accept it.
Yeah,
That's where we thrive,
that's right. We thrive in the darkness like fungus.
like fungus or earthworms.
Yeah, cool stuff.
Yeah. So anyway, Jake Gyllenhaal monologue. He
Yes,
came out.
written by
Oh,
Mike Shenzo and Jake Nordwind.
oh, okay, okay. He came out. Did you notice that his shirt was like tucked in the front and then untucked in the back? It was a really weird look.
Yeah, what was that? It was
I,
like a
I, I,
flowy.
I was just thinking, like, was he getting dressed in a rush? What's going on? He's not in the opener, so
Yeah, he has time to put on a proper shirt.
I don't know. It's just, are we starting some new fashion trend here? What? I just found it very distracting for the first couple of minutes.
Yeah, it's like a billowy, like almost pirate shirt. Where it's like,
Yeah,
I was like, you should trying to start a new trend or something.
yeah, yeah. But anyway, he talked about he has a lot of self-deprecating jokes about how it's just one more episode and he would have been hosting the premiere of the 50th season, and then he sings a song all about season 49 and all the people who didn't accept the hosting gig for the season finale, which
Yeah,
is
yeah,
which is kind of fun. They go kind of boys to men with it.
yeah, yeah. Like basically, he's trying to convince himself that hosting the last episode of the 49th season, that's still cool too,
Yeah,
even
I
though
mean
it's
it's
the fifth.
almost like show hosting the 50th season premiere.
Yeah, and then of course Ego pipes him like, no, no, it's not.
Yeah, and by the way, the backup singers are Keenan, Devin, Ego, and Punky.
Yeah, so like
And
basically like yeah, so like you said, like they sing "Boys to Men" "End of the Road" because it's like the
mhm.
end of the 49th season, and of course it's uh Jake kind of trying to convince himself that the end of the 49th season is just as good as the beginning of the 50th.
Right, and
Shit.
he name drops a few people that
Uh,
supposedly turned it down. Like I remember Zendaya's name was in there, and
she's out of town.
yeah,
Pedro
uh,
Pascal passed, and then he said right. They even asked Ryan Gosling, but he already just toasted.
like three
So
weeks ago. Yeah,
3 weeks ago.
yeah.
Um,
This was cute. I liked how Devin had the Dwayne Wayne sunglasses.
yes,
That was a nice touch.
bring those back.
I was like, yeah, we should bring those back. It's been like 30 years since those were the thing.
Yeah, it's like yeah, I'm nearsighted, but I also want to wear sunglasses.
Yeah, that's right.
I gotta.
I want to just flip them down over my prescription lenses.
It's convenient, man.
Yeah,
Come
and
on.
stylish.
Yeah. But yeah, I thought this monologue was cute enough. It was. I mean, again, Jake gives it his all. Like, he really
Hmm.
gets into singing this Boys to Men song, just his heart
Yeah.
and soul. It's like karaoke night on a Friday. And it's like he really just goes for it.
Yeah. Again, he's not really a singer, but he committed 110%. He brought it.
He did brought it. He did
He
brought it.
done brought it. It's done been brung.
He had done, then brought and did.
Yeah, it's already been brought in, as they say in Not Another Teen Movie.
That's right. Not another team. I haven't thought of that movie in ages. Holy shit!
Uh, been
Wowee.
it's been a while. Yeah.
Been a while.
But this was fun. I mean, it started off the show with like a good high energy thing. So uh,
Yeah.
this was fun. I enjoyed
Yeah.
it.
Fun. Absolutely.
Fun.
Fun. We like fun.
We do enjoy fun.
We enjoy the activity of fun and the band fun. They made
Yes.
that one song, "We Are Young" or something.
Yes. I think that was them.
Yeah, that was them.
All right.
All right. So first sketch of the night. Dad has a cookie.
Dad has a cookie. It's got Chloe Trost. She's introducing her boyfriend Andrew Dismukes to her parents, who are played by Jake and Heidi. And as the mother and daughter go out of the room for a minute, Dismukes confesses to the father that he's planning to propose.
Right.
But Jake Gyllenhaal's dad is just focused on sneaking a cookie before dinner.
Right. And before Heidi and Chloe leave the room, Heidi's warns her husband Jake, saying, "Hey, we're about to have dinner. Don't eat one of these cookies. You cannot have a cookie before dinner." And she's like, "All right, I won't have a cookie."
Mm-hmm.
And of course, as soon as she leaves, all he's focused on is getting that cookie.
Yeah. And he like immediately, like, we see Dismukes and he's like, "Well, sir, now that we're alone, I have a question to ask." And you see him pull out a little ring box.
Mm.
So obviously he's planning to pop the question and ask her father's permission beforehand. Is that still done these days? Did you do that before you proposed? If that's not too personal a question.
Oh yeah, no, the ring box?
No. Did you ask the father's permission?
Oh, did I? No, actually, no. No.
That's a no. If you don't remember, I think that's a no.
No, I did, but I mean, I talked to him. I talked to him, but like it was like after I did it,
Okay.
and like I said, "Hey, this is happening, old man." So, no, I didn't.
Yeah, that's not really asking permission. That's
Deal with it, old man.
that's like at best asking forgiveness.
Yes, I'm the captain now. I run this ship.
um,
You gotta establish dominance, John.
yeah, no, absolutely. That's why you peed in their kitchen beforehand.
That's right. I'm
Yeah.
marking my territory.
Exactly.
The start of a wonderful relationship.
And they say romance is dead. Uh,
But yeah. So basically, he's, Dismukes is about to ask the father, like, is it
mhm.
okay if I ask your wife, your daughter's hand in marriage? And the father's okay with it, but he's more concerned about, like, you're a good man because you're not gonna tell my wife about the cookie.
Right.
Like,
He swears Dismukes to secrecy, and Dismukes at one point points out, like, "Well, you've actually got crumbs all over your sweater." And like when the camera was off, uh, Jake Gyllenhaal, they like obviously smeared crumbs all over the front of his sweater, which is
yes,
pretty funny. And he's like, "Dude, I always have crumbs on the front of my sweater."
that ain't suspicious at all.
Yeah.
Yeah, and like and so when Heidi and Chloe come back into the room, uh, Dismukes is gonna propose, but then Jake
Hmm.
pulls him away, saying, like, "Hey, were you about to tell my wife about the cookie? Don't bitch
Yeah.
out on me, man. Are you about to tell her about the cookie?" And he's like,
And
"Dude, I'm
Dismukes
not
is
telling
like,
you about the cookie. No one
"No,
cares."
no, I don't care about the cookie. This is I'm getting ready to pop the question here."
Right. And then Heidi finds out that somebody did eat the cookies, and she said, like,
Right.
"Honey, did you eat these cookies?"
Yeah.
And then Dismukes takes the fall, saying, "No, I ate the cookies. It was me."
Yeah. Good
Uh,
guy. Good guy. Yeah.
yeah, it's a good man. And then
Covering up
that's
for his
when,
bro. Yeah.
yeah, bros before cookies, Oreos. There we go.
Yeah.
Bros before Oreos. Oh wow, I just thought of that.
That's good. That's good.
That's right.
Hashtag bros before Oreos, people. Let's
Hire
get
me,
that going.
SNL. I'm available. Hire me. I can punch your shit up.
And then I like the twist that after Dismukes confesses to eating the cookie, Trost goes, "No, honey, those were peanut butter cookies, and you're allergic." And
Yeah.
so she starts panicking and wants to call 911. She sticks him in the neck with an EpiPen.
Yeah. And I think like Jake is like, oh my God, we got to get you to throw up. And then he tries to jam his fingers
Yeah.
down Dismuke's throat. Like,
Hmm.
wow. I was like, this took a turn.
Yeah, yeah. I like that. I'd say my only real criticism of the sketch is I thought it ended very abruptly. It seemed like it could have gone for another minute or two
A little bit.
and
Yeah,
had
this.
another twist
Yeah,
or two, you know?
yeah. I mean, this was kind of all over. I won't say it was all over the place, but yeah, I didn't hate it. I did like it, but I
No,
was
I
like,
enjoyed it. I think it was pretty focused. I think it just ended a little sooner than it needed to. I would have liked to like one more twist in there. I thought it was escalating nicely, but then it just kind of stopped.
you
And
know,
that's my only criticism, I would say.
yeah, no, fair enough, fair enough. It was a good sketch. This is a good way to
Yeah.
start the night. I thought.
I like that they did something this weird at the top of the show.
Yeah,
I enjoy that. That feels like a good vote of confidence.
yeah. I mean, at the end of the show, they did something even weirder, but we'll
Hmm.
get there.
Let's see. Next, we have a pre-tape called Scooby Doo.
Huh?
Yeah, based on the old uh, uh, cartoon, the Hanna Barbera cartoon with the
Yeah,
talking dog that solved mysteries,
yeah. Hey, gang, we got a groovy mystery
and
to solve.
that's right. That's right. We had a bunch of people vaguely based on the characters from the Many Lives of Loves of Dobie Gillis.
Oh, I love that show. No one remembers that show
Do
anymore.
you do you really? Holy cow!
Yeah, like I swear, I think I'm the only person that A remembers and B loved watch because like I watched that on Nick at Night.
Yeah, I
Like,
remember it running on Nick at Night in the '80s.
and I don't know, like I connected to Dobie Gillis, and I was
All
like,
this time you've been a closet Dobie Gillis fan. I had no
yeah,
idea.
no, dude, I fucking Dobie Gillis rocks. I was like, I get this guy. He gets me.
Wow,
This is me.
you're you might be like the one black man who's into Dobie
I'm
Gillis.
probably it. Like I try
Yeah.
to hold meetings. It's like, hey, brothers, and then y'all like to get together talk about Dobie Gillis. It's just me in a conference room I rented out. Sad. It's sad.
You got the whole Dwayne Hickman cosplay thing going with the bleach blonde hair.
Yeah. Yeah. People asking me, "Oh, you're supposed to be like Wesley Snipes from Demolition Man? What's going on here?" It's like, no, it's Dobie. It's Dobie. It's Dobie Gillis.
I'm enjoying this metal image too much.
Just a lonely blonde black man in a conference room he rented out, slowly sipping
that
water.
that made my night.
But Scooby Doo, Scooby
But
Doo.
the Scooby Doo sketch. So we've got Jake Gyllenhaal as Fred. We got our musical guest Sabrina Carpenter as Daphne. We've got Sarah Sherman as Velma, and we got Mikey Day as Shaggy. And it is officially, I think, better casting than we had in the Scooby Doo movies.
Yeah, no, casting solid, and we got the CGI Scooby Doo in here too.
A very impressive CGI Scooby Doo, considering they probably had only a couple days at most to put that together. Yeah,
Yeah, and
very impressed with that.
yeah, and so the first part of the sketch, it kind of plays out pretty straight, where they're
Hmm.
looking through a haunted house.
Yep.
There's somebody, behind an old painting. You can see the eye holes
Right.
peeping. I think,
There's this ghost floating around, and
yeah, there's a
but
ghost
they
floating
figure
around.
out it's
Yeah,
really old man Franklin,
yeah,
and he would have done it too if it wasn't for you meddling kids. Blah 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 blah. Yeah, yeah,
yeah, and then of course the twist comes where Fred is like, "Well, no, it can't be Old Man Franklin. I wonder who Old Man Franklin really is."
yeah,
And he tries to rip off Old Man Franklin's face mask, what he thought was a
yeah.
mask. He ends up ripping off his actual entire face.
Yes.
So we got a little body horror in here.
Yeah, and I see this and I'm like, oh, this was co-written by Sarah Sherman. Okay,
Yes.
I get it now. Um,
Yeah.
and everyone's horrified and disgusted. Fred tosses the face away. Scooby starts chewing on the face,
Jesus.
the bloody face. Shaggy, his arm gets caught in a secret passageway, and his arm is amputated. He loses his arm. Velma panics and runs into a wire that was holding up the ghost, and she decapitates herself.
If it's decapitation, it's Sarah Sherman.
It's Sarah Sherman. Somebody on Twitter was saying that at this point we could do a montage of all the times she's been decapitated on the show, and they're probably right.
So there's blood splurting everywhere. Everybody's
Yeah,
freaking out. The cop comes in. It's Keenan saying, "All right, what are you crazy kids getting up to now?"
right,
Bang! Cop gets shot in the gut,
right.
dies. It was Fred. Fred shot the cop.
Yeah, and Daphne's like, "Oh, Fred, what are you doing?" And he says, "We can't have any witnesses."
And he shoots the man behind the pictures. As
Right.
the man goes, "Oh no, please don't!" And bang, bang, bang.
Yeah. And all we ever see of that guy is his eyeballs, and we just hear brief bit of dialogue. And then Scooby shoots Freddy.
Yes. Front row, bitch.
Yeah. Um, and then at the end, it all turns out to be an ad for Apple Face ID.
Yeah, that really kind of got my goat.
Yeah, I said a week or two ago, I'm kind of sick of the whole "oh, this was actually an ad the whole time" thing.
Yeah.
And our friend Dennis Perkins, I was reading his review of this episode over on Paste Magazine, as should all of you, by the way.
Yes.
And uh, he was saying something that hadn't occurred to me, that these are actually integrated ads in a weird way.
How so?
Well, because like he's saying that there aren't as many commercials up at the front of the show as there used to be. You know, that we're like 4 or 5 sketches deep before we see our actual first real ad. And you know, we used to have an ad before the first sketch and blah blah blah. So he thinks this is actually a paid spot, especially since Jake Gyllenhaal has a project coming up on Apple TV.
Oh, so you think they're putting in these ads like they're for real? So they're kind of writing a sketch around the ad?
Maybe, I mean, that's what
Hmm.
Dennis was saying, and I don't know if he has inside information on this. I don't know if it's his theory. We could ask him this sometime in the near future, perhaps.
Hmm.
But I was like, oh, that makes a lot of sense, and you know, follow the money, man.
Yeah, because
So
that does make sense. Because like when I saw this, the Apple Face ID, I was like, oh come on, we just talked about this on the last episode with
yeah,
the Maya Rudolph teacher sketch and the OnlyFans,
hmm,
and like I was like, this sketch was strong enough that you totally didn't need that Apple ID face, and it doesn't even make
yeah,
sense because in the beginning of the sketch, you already introduced that we were watching an episode of Scooby Doo. So
hmm.
then you put this ad saying, "Oh no, this wasn't an episode of Scooby Doo. It was actually an ad for Apple Face ID." So it's like that. You kind of, I don't know. You kind of
I
lying to
mean,
the
it
people,
didn't
man.
really bug me in that regard,
Mm,
because I mean, yeah, commercials do fake show parodies all the time. That I mean, so I don't have a problem with that. But I think the oh hey, this is actually an ad the entire time, ha ha ha. It's just becoming hack at this point.
it really is. Like I thought the sketch was strong enough that it really didn't need that. So, but the fact that you're
Hmm.
saying that these are actual ads, kind of baked into the show, I was like, all
Yeah,
right, well that makes a little more sense. But
I
I'm still
honestly
not wild
hadn't
about it.
thought of that, but it does explain why when they do this, it usually is a real product instead of some made up thing. So I was like, okay, I hadn't thought about it in that regard, but I think our friend Dennis has a point there.
I think you're onto something there, Dennis.
Hmm.
Hey there.
So
All
anyway,
right.
but I enjoyed this.
Yeah.
This is fun. You know, it's
Some
I
gory
haven't gotten
madness.
sick of Sarah's body horror stuff yet. So
Yeah. I like the sketch. It was, crazy, bloody, gory madness.
hmm, hmm.
And next up, beautiful
Yeah,
girls.
beautiful girls. Boy, how do we explain this sketch?
This one, I saw somebody mention. I think it was our good friend Minute Moretti mentioned that this
Hmm.
was like kind of they were doing a nod to the beautiful girl segment in Singing in the Rain. And I haven't seen that movie in a while, but I don't
Boy,
remember that.
it's been a few years since I've rewatched it. I don't
But
know
yeah,
if I
so
remember the beautiful girl segment and singing in the rain, but okay, but that makes sense, I suppose.
yeah, so basically, in this sketch, it takes place in the '40s, and
Hmm.
Heidi and Keenan are a couple, and they're going out, out on a night on the town, and
Hmm.
they're at this nice little speakeasy club, and they're about to see this show, hosted by Jake Gyllenhaal. You bring
Hmm.
out the beautiful girls. Hey there,
Yeah,
fellas.
we got Sarah and Ego and Chloe Feynman, and they're in like these showgirl type outfits, and he's got these song lyrics about how gorgeous they all are, and then he brings out his beautiful boys.
Right, and then pretty much all the men in SNL come out to this song "Beautiful Boys," and they're all kind of
we
dressed in khakis and
hmm
tucked in
Looking
plaid
very
shirts.
LL Bean, yeah,
Yes, very LL Bean. And then while they're doing this, and they're all doing this while Jake Gyllenhaal, again, the theater kid in him just really comes out in sketch
yeah,
like this, where he just sings
yeah.
a song about all these beautiful boys.
Yeah, we got our Jim Sauson Johnson, we got our Marcelo, we got our Longfellow, we got our Devon, we got our Dismukes, we got our Bowen, we got six SNL dudes up there,
That's right.
and yeah, and he sings a little line about each one of them, and um, by the way,
This
I just want to note Keenan's line from early on when he's seeing the women on stage. He says, "I don't know about you, but I'm as hard as a car door."
that was hilarious. I forgot to mention that.
That line stuck in my head.
That is hard. A car door. They are pretty hard.
I guess they are. Yeah, sure.
But I was like, wow, that's a killer. Uh,
Yeah.
but yeah, it's basically all the boys on the SNL cast kind of prancing around
Hmm.
while Jake sings about how beautiful they are. It's like, if you
Hmm.
could have your pick, choose the one with the biggest heart.
Yes, I like the fake out of the rhymes. That was funny. Again, I liked how weird this was.
Yeah, did you add that one? There was like a one part where they were doing like an overhead shot while
Yeah,
Jake singing to the camera overhead while the boys were kind of doing that little showgirl like synchronized
yeah,
pose
it's almost
dance.
like what you'd see in a Bubsy Berkeley or an Esther Williams, number where it's the
Yes,
overhead shot and we're looking straight down at them.
yes, exactly. When you're taking stock, choose the one with the fattest wallet.
Yeah.
Yeah, this one I at first I was like, what's happening here? But I got it by the end of it. I was kind of charmed by it.
Yeah, I found this charming in an offbeat way. That's a good word for it.
Yes, very much so. Very much like, all right, this is kind of weird, but
Hmm.
go on. Yeah, I was basically Keenan's character in this thing, where at first, because they're not, it's not about the girls, it's about the boys. He's like,
Right,
all
but by
right,
the
whatever.
end, you were as hard as a car door.
Beautiful boys. Yeah,
Yeah, I don't know if this was just straight absurdity, if it was just trying to make some weird statement about like objectifying women or what, but or if it was just insanity. But like I said, I enjoyed the weirdness of it.
it's weird yet charming.
Yes,
And this one
yes,
was written by Alison Gates, Kent Sublette, and Celeste Yim.
yeah, and I like it when the show is unafraid to get this weird this early. So
Oh, you just wait, sir. You just wait.
yeah, I think that bodes well. I feel like Jake is a host that they have probably enough of a comfort level at this point with where he comes by and they're just like, let's get the weird stuff.
Yeah, I would say so. I actually after this episode, I kind of hope he makes it into the five timers.
Yeah, yeah. He's a promising candidate for the Five Timers Club. I agree.
Yes, have him back on. Absolutely.
I agree.
Okay. Yeah, he even tried to make this sketch work. Bike trail.
Bike Trail. This was a weird one. Not as good of a weird, I think. We got Mikey and Chloe Feynman as a couple on they're hiking on a trail, and they're having this serious conversation because he just got a job that's out of town, and they're just like, oh, well, what do we do? And I don't want to break up, but we can't do a long distance relationship. And then Jake Gyllenhaal comes by as this bike rider who's asking him to clear out of the way,
Yeah,
and
but like
he's making bizarre cell phone calls.
they did something interesting because like he's on this bike,
Hmm.
but like and the guys are on like a hill, like a mountain, but like the bike is on like this kind of this electric trail or rail, like the
Yeah,
background people, the set designs set up this kind of electric rail for him to be on, so he's kind of moving up the
right.
rail very slowly, and you can totally hear the electric hum of the bike like kind of going off as he's moving up this track.
Hmm.
It's a little distracting. It kind of reminded me of, remember in The Price is Right, the mountain climber game. It kind of reminded me of that.
Vaguely, yes. Yeah.
Don't you have to like bet on things or guess the price of things without going over,
Hmm.
and like make sure the mountain climber didn't go over the mountain. But yeah, it kind of reminded me of that a little bit. But
Okay.
but yeah, so Jake is this like kind of obnoxious biker saying, move to the side, respect the driver, respect the biker,
Hmm.
and like while Chloe and Mikey are having a serious conversation about their relationship, he's kind of on his phone screaming
Yeah,
about
he's
text,
having Siri like do texts for him, and
yeah, about girls he met on Tinder.
right.
Text here, text this girl, sorry about karaoke last night, about singing that one song N word in Paris,
Hmm.
and saying the N word. Then texting mom, what really happened to dad? Question mark. Frowny face.
Yeah,
But then he rolled back down the hill, and then he biked back up the hill, but he had Bowen with him too.
Bowen was like on his back. Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
and
This one it's one of those sketches that's more odd than funny.
yeah, very much so. I was kind of like, I'm not. Where is this? I didn't know where it was kind of going,
Hmm.
and what was it, like. What I mean, I knew what it was. It just seemed to be about this kind of loud, obnoxious biker guy,
Yeah,
but it didn't really kind of go anywhere.
yeah. It didn't tickle my funny bone too much.
Yeah, and
I must confess.
sometimes it's kind of hard to understand because like Jake is like really pedaling this bike uphill, and like while he was like kind of screaming out his lines while biking and kind of out of breath, it was kind of
Hmm.
hard to understand him at parts. And then so maybe that's why they got Bowen there, because like Bowen played another biker who's just as insane and kind of obnoxious as the first biker. But yeah, the
I don't think
sketch.
I had any problems understanding what he was saying. I
Yeah,
just
okay. But
yeah,
yeah, it just seems like the stuff he was saying really wasn't that funny, and
yeah.
it just kind of the sketch, yeah, this just kind of just fell kind of flat for me.
They've done better.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Okay. Next up, we got another pre-tape fast fashion ad.
Fast fashion ad. This is for a fashion line called. Did they
Zimu.
pronounce it Zimu?
Yeah, I don't. I think this is a fake product. I think they
Oh, it
just
has
made
to
it up.
be.
Yeah, like because they say some things about Zimu that
Yeah,
are
yeah.
not
I
true.
mean, and it's all these shirts and pantsuits and slacks and stuff, and they're at these insanely cheap prices. They're like $10, $5, $2.50, and they're like,
Yeah,
how do they have such cheap prices? Don't worry about it.
yeah, yeah. Sure, for $5, no prisoners were involved.
Yeah, they're all working the normal number of hours.
Yes, all the workers are paid, even the ones with the wrong religion.
Yeah,
And
and
Chloe's like, "What'd you say?"
and the narrator of this ad is also assuring uh, people that there's no lead in any of the clothing.
Yes, and I did like how Jake like goes to smell the shirt to see if he can smell lead, and he pulls his face up, both his teeth and nose are bleeding.
Yeah,
But yeah, and of course towards the end they say like, well, if we told you what was happening, would you stop buying it? And they're all like, no, I guess not.
I mean, maybe. No, probably not. Yeah.
Yeah.
Um,
I like this sketch.
I enjoyed it. It was just quick, funny. Didn't
Yeah.
overstay its welcome. It's only like about a minute 40 seconds. So
Yeah. I mean, they're kind of taking shots at a lot of the fast fashion companies and labels like H&M and
mhm.
Zara, and like all these people
Yeah,
that put out all these fashionable not very well made T-shirts for like super cheap
Yeah.
prices, and
Yeah, they're made in these overseas sweatshops, and people are
yeah,
getting paid pennies on the dollar. And
yeah. I mean, I've heard they're not. Of course, they're not great for the environment either. It's like a whole thing.
it's a
But
whole thing. It's
it's
a
a
whole thing, Darren.
it's a whole thing.
It's a whole thing.
Absolutely. But yeah, I dug the sketch. I thought it was pretty
Hmm.
funny.
Yeah, yeah,
Like,
it was funny.
absolutely.
Let's see. Oh my goodness, we're already at our musical guest. Look at that.
Boom.
We
That's
got
right.
we got Sabrina Carpenter up in this joint.
Yes, her songs. First song was Espresso,
Espresso, yes,
and the last one was a medley between Feather and Nonsense.
yes. Um, both both very extensive production numbers after a few weeks of more simple, stripped down musical guests. Um,
Eh,
and she's pretty glammed up. I mean, her first number, she's basically just performing in a negligee.
yeah, yeah.
I don't know how else to put it. I mean, I was like, that's basically what she's wearing.
Mm-hmm. You know.
Um,
Yeah, I thought it was okay. It seemed like she was like lip syncing a little bit here and there. And
I totally think she was lip syncing.
yeah, right.
I saw some comments online. Some people were like, "Oh, that was just her backing track, or it was her lead vocal was like double." I totally think she was lip syncing. It didn't look like real singing to me. And like during her second number, at one point she lowered her microphone. You could still hear her voice.
Yeah, that's what. Remember when like Ashley Simpson did that shit and she was
Yeah,
like
I
kicked out of
why
the.
did they do this since Ashley Simpson, man?
I don't know. Like now, it's not that big a deal. It's so weird. It's
Yeah,
like,
because that was like a huge scandal when she did it, and it basically killed her career. I don't remember
yeah,
her doing much of anything after that.
and now no one's
Although they
thinking.
did have her back on the show, and because I remember her saying like, "Oh, this is the song I wrote after my last appearance on SNL," and but I mean, what the hell's the point of having a musical guest if they don't sing live?
I don't know, man.
Yeah,
I really don't. It's so these kids today, man. I tells you.
I don't know. Just have somebody come out and play a record, Andy Kaufman style.
Here I come to save the day.
I don't know. I just so I spent most of her numbers just being kind of confused. I'm like, wait, she's lip syncing, isn't she? She's got to be lip syncing. This totally looks like lip syncing. And yeah, by the end of it, I was pretty convinced she was lip syncing.
Yeah, and but yeah. It's. I thought
I
the
mean,
songs.
look, I recognize that it's tough to do like those extensive dance moves when you're singing a song the way like Britney Spears did back in the day and all that. But I'm just like, yeah, but if you don't have to do all that whole production on SNL, you can just sing.
Yeah, I mean, and plus, like, it didn't look like she was like doing any like really serious like dance moves up there. Like she
No,
wasn't like
certainly
getting.
not in the second number. I mean, she's
Yeah,
basically just sort of standing on a platform and not doing much of anything. I'm like,
yeah, she wasn't doing
okay,
like.
so why aren't you singing for real here?
Yeah, like she
And
wasn't
the
doing.
first one, I get it because you're getting up on the bar and you're dancing around on there, and
Yeah,
you're moving around a lot. But
yeah, she wasn't like doing some Janet Jackson shit. She was just kind of standing
yeah,
around like, hey, look at me, I'm pretty, and posing
yeah,
and shit.
yeah,
It's like she's just posing all the time. I was like, sing you? Come on now.
yeah. I don't. Yeah, I don't get where this is coming from.
Yeah. But yeah, I really didn't write down much for these. I thought they were, eh.
Yeah, I think I'd heard that Feather song before. It seemed kind of familiar, but and I was like, oh, I think she's singing this one live, and then she lowered the microphone, and I could still hear her clear as a bell. So I was like,
Oh
okay,
boy.
well, I guess she's not.
Yep. And
She's just
that's
doing a better job lip syncing, I guess.
uh the future of music, ladies and gentlemen.
I don't know what's going on.
Yeah.
It's so weird.
Back in my day, you'd have a you sang your sing songs in the microphone.
Back in my day, when somebody lip synced on SNL, that was the end of their career.
That's the way it was, and we liked it.
We loved it.
We loved it.
All right, shall we move on to weekend update?
Yes, with Michael Che.
Michael Che, and also checks notes. Colin Jost.
I believe
Hmm.
it's pronounced Juste.
Oh, Juiced. Okay, all right.
Yes. Colin Juice and Michael Che.
Yeah. A big story this week was that Biden and Trump have apparently agreed to debates.
Oh boy, oh boy.
Yeah, I mean, assuming Trump's not going to be in prison.
Mm,
Uh,
fingers crossed.
yeah. I like the line that Joe said about it going to be like, if you want to know what the debates are going to be like, swallow a bottle of Ambien and a bottle of Adderall at the same time.
Oh god. Oh, the future of America.
That was good. Yeah.
Yeah, I did like some of the jokes that they had, like in the second part of the night, where Che talking about the new Prince Charles portrait,
Hmm.
how people weren't crazy about it because it had harsh red in the background. Uh, but in the royal family, that's better than having a black background picture of Meghan Markle.
Yeah,
Bam.
that was good. I really liked Che's joke about how some people are. Oh God, I didn't write down the setup properly. It was about like courting the black vote and how like there's no chance
Oh
of
right,
getting the
yes, I
black
wrote that
vote.
down.
And okay, can you say it?
Yeah, like basically saying how black men think both campaigns just want their votes. Yeah. Anyway,
That
let's.
was it. Yeah, I just said yeah.
Yeah,
And I literally laughed out loud at that.
that's a
I mean,
great. It's a great
yeah,
one.
good joke. Delivery was just perfect.
Yeah, yeah. Absolutely. We were talking about how McDonald's has a Grandma McFlurry, which supposed to taste like treats in your grandma's purse, like butterscotch, crumbled up pieces of candy, and a big black vibrator.
Yeah. Um,
Wow.
I like the joke about how Trump's plane supposedly clipped a part plane when it was coming in for a landing, and he
Yes.
says, "But the good news is Trump flies around in a Boeing, so
That's a great joke.
that was a great joke." Yep.
Well done, well done. But yeah, so far,
Didn't need to elaborate. I like the minimalist approach that Shay had to his
yes.
jokes this week.
It's like he just says this part, and your mind builds the
Hmm.
rest.
Yeah, because you have enough info to
Yes,
fill it in.
absolutely. So, death segments. We got two cicadas on the largest cicada emergence.
Yes, yes. Keenan is like a cicada. It hasn't emerged since 2007, and Marcelo was one that hasn't emerged since, was it 2011? I think.
Yes, 2011.
Yeah.
Because yeah, like, two separate broods of cicadas will be erupting from the ground this year. So it's gonna be in a hot cicada summer, ladies and gentlemen.
Hmm.
Cancel your plans.
Yeah. This was fine, but I think I'm kind of over people showing up to Weekend Update in wacky costumes like they're in the audience for Let's Make a Deal or something
Oh
like that.
wow, let's make it. They've really kind of leaned into.
They've gone all in on the costume
I don't
death
know. Yeah,
segments.
like I don't know if it was like kind of Bowen's iceberg thing that kind of kicked it
I blame
off.
the iceberg. Yes.
Oh, see, we took away the wrong lesson from the iceberg.
That was such a hit, and it became, I think it's safe to say that went viral, and yeah, people love that bit so much that they were just like, "Hey, let's double down and keep doing it and keep doing it, and let's drive it into the ground." What SNL does with recurring characters.
Yeah,
Um,
because I will say, yeah, the costumes are impressive.
they
They're
were they were amazing, and I loved like Keenan was doing some nice bits of business where he was like moving his like little arm phalange things around. I
right.
mean, that was very funny. If I saw this in isolation, I would say, "Hey, this is funny. This is great. Let's see more of this." But I've been seeing more of this for like 2 years now, so I'm kind of over it.
Yeah, I think the thing with this one is like the costumes look great.
Hmm.
The material isn't the strongest, but
I mean,
like
I like the line. I gotta text some cicada bitches.
yeah,
Um,
all right, I'll give you. Yeah,
yeah,
cicada
I'm
bitches. All
I'm
right,
not made of wood, people.
yeah.
It's
Yeah, the all right. It's somewhat okay, the material, but like I think like
yeah,
Marcelo and Keenan just kind of really play it up in order to try to carry it over
yeah.
the
I mean,
line.
their performances were good, and I liked the jokes about them being kind of out of touch because they've been hibernating for years and years and years, and they like when they hear that gay marriage is legal now, they congratulate Colin.
Yeah. It's like, congratulations, man. It's like,
At the end, they I, I I had an idea for how they could have ended it, and I was like, I kind of wish they just sang "Cicada Ladies" to the tune of "Single Ladies." I think that would have been fun.
ooh. Oh, cicada ladies. Oh, cicada ladies. Oh, shit.
It works, right?
It really does. Shit. That actually, damn it. That's actually pretty good.
Well, thank you.
Wow. SNL, we are both available to write for your show. Like,
We're
listen to these
preparing our
gold words.
packets this summer.
Oh, cicada ladies. That's fun.
Oh, Cicada Ladies. Oh,
Dude, that's
Cicada
it.
Ladies.
Bravo, sir. That's,
Them dancing around in those little outfits, that would have been fun.
yeah, put your hands up, and then they could put their hands up.
Yeah.
God, dude,
It
we did
writes
it.
itself, right?
We did it, guys. We made SNL better. Yeah.
So,
Yeah, but
anyway, I think that would have been fun.
that would have been fun, but it didn't do that. So it
Yeah.
was just, eh.
Yeah.
But you know
Let's
what
see.
was?
I have this note. I didn't put the full context of this note. Like some joke of Che's didn't get a great reaction. He was like, "Oh, okay, I won't do it on air then."
Oh, I don't know which one was that.
Che has the best reactions when one of his jokes doesn't go over. You know.
Yeah, I'm not sure which one that was. There was the $800 jeans with pee stains that Joe's told about, and it's like pee stains in the front. I could make that in my sleep.
Okay, I didn't find that especially notable, but I'm glad you enjoyed it.
And joke swap.
Joke swap. We have the now traditional season finale joke swap between Colin Jost and Michael Che.
Mm-hmm.
And Che said, the last time I was here, I hired an actress to come on and pretend to be a civil rights leader. So today I'm having an actual practicing rabbi, Rabbi Jill, come here to witness your jokes.
Yeah, and I looked it up.
I have my doubts that was a real rabbi, but maybe. Who knows?
I think it was. I looked it up, and because her full name is Rabbi Jill Houseman, and she's like a comedian performer in New York, and like she performed.
Okay, I mean she spoke, so I was like, okay, well, if she's in SAG or anything like that, they would have to pay her more if she speaks. So
yeah. So like she performed at the Actor Temple, and I think she is a practicing rabbi, like for real. So she's like a comic / rabbi. But yeah, she didn't say much, so that might be part of your thing too, where like you have to get paid extra.
Well, I mean, she did say something. Is my point. So,
but I thought
maybe she's not an actual performer.
Yeah, but I think she said something because maybe I think either her or Jost missed a cue or something like that.
I don't know,
because I think Jost was supposed to ask her to hand her the puppet, but Jost didn't. So she had to say, "Well, how do you do
everything he touches, he destroys."
Oh, good, Jost.
But they reported on the story of the Duke University grads walking out during Seinfeld's commencement speech, and just saying, "The only chant you'll ever hear from me is free Harvey Weinstein."
Whew, supporting the Jews.
Yep.
Oh dear.
I mean, as usual, Che's jokes that he has Jost deliver go pretty hard, which is half the fun of this.
Yeah.
This bit.
Yeah, Rabbi Jill. But if you're here, who's controlling the weather?
I think my favorite was absolutely the story about the Chat GPT voice assistant inspired by her. He says, "And honestly, I've never bothered to watch that movie because without that body, what's the point of listening?" And there's a picture of Scarlett Johansson on the cryon next to him.
I was like,
wow.
I was like, whoa. I mean, I'm sure ScarJo's cool with it, but
yeah, no, I mean, you can't be married to Colin Jost without being able to take a joke. I think.
It's like, no, come on, baby, these are just jokes.
Yeah,
come on, girl.
But I think Jost gave as good as he got when towards the end he had Che calling out Kendrick Lamar as the biggest bitch of all.
Yeah,
that was pretty brilliant.
Pretty fantastic. Now chasing it.
Yeah. And then we finished off with the rabbi puppet.
Right. So there's like a puppet of a rabbi, and they tell this joke about how NBC told MSNBC to curb their criticism of Israel. and then as the puppet, Joe said, and if they don't, we'll hit them with our space lasers. And there was like a weird, awkward silence after that. Like,
Hmm.
I think the audience was like, "Can I laugh at that?" Or,
They're
"Oh,
probably waiting to see if the rabbi laughed at
yeah, I
all.
think so." It got weird, oddly, like I think even Joe's was like, "Oh, did we go too far? Why is no one laughing
Uh-huh.
at that?" It was a little weird, a little eerie.
Yeah. I don't know. Honestly, I think the space laser jokes at this point, because they've been around for so many months. I think that that's almost tame.
Yeah,
You know.
I thought it was a tame joke too. It's like, oh, space
Yeah,
laser.
I don't think it was as edgy as the stuff that preceded it.
No, not at all. But like I don't know. The
Honestly,
audience
I
acted
feel like
weird.
this. I wish this joke exchange had gone on a little longer. I could have done with another joke or two from the two of them.
Yeah, same. But yeah, but yeah, overall weekend updates, not too shabby. I'll say, not too shabby.
Pretty strong overall. I mean, I want them to back off the costume thing a bit. Just like I'm not saying stop it completely, but don't do it as often. Just make it special again.
Yeah, like I think sometimes they kind of hope that the costume does most of the heavy lifting,
Uh huh.
and the material really isn't that. I don't know. It seems like the material really isn't that strong, and it's up to the performer to like really kind of sell it,
Hmm.
and with and then like them trying to. I don't know. It seems like they. It seems like again, like the costume does most of the heavy lifting, and the performer trying to sell the material does a lot of the heavy lifting too. But the material should be doing a good amount of the heavy lifting as well, and it doesn't quite do that.
Should they have a spotter? Should there be like a comedy spotter,
That's right. How much you?
just making sure they don't pull anything?
Yes. How much you joke, bro?
Yeah.
That's right. How much? Yeah. So, weekend update. Not too bad. Not too bad.
Not too bad. Not too bad. I enjoyed myself.
Yeah.
Some laughs were had.
Yes. Next up, canceling a flight.
Canceling a flight. This was Jake Gyllenhaal on the phone with Southwest, trying to reschedule his flight for the next morning, and then he just says, "Okay, well, I can't do that, so I may as well just cancel the flight, get a refund, and go with another airline."
Yeah. And
And
I mean, this is basically a rerun of the canceling your cable sketch from the Kieran Culkin episode, where Kieran gets.
jeez, I'd forgotten that.
Yeah,
Yeah,
remember that?
vaguely.
Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah. It's like where Kieran's character is trying to get get his cable canceled, and
right.
they just kind of bounce him around customer service, going from one person to another, being less helpful than the last.
Yeah,
So
yeah. So we
they
so we
just took
start out with
yeah,
with Mikey as the customer service representative. He transfers him to Chloe, who transfers him to Ego, who transfers him to Molly, who transfers him to Longfellow, who transfers him to Heidi, who transfers him to Keenan, who transfers him to James Austin Johnson, who transfers him to Devin and Punky as a trainee and the supervisor, and they transfer him to Diz Mukes, who's at the Terminal C Hudson News, then transfers him back to Mikey, and then finally transfers him to Bowen, who's
right.
like the god of Southwest.
Yes, very much so. So and it basically hit
So
a lot of the same beats. Some
yeah.
different ones too. I like the beat how Jake's character name is Reginald Keene. So of
Hmm.
course everybody there calls him Vaginal Cream.
Right. Yeah, they mangle his name.
Yeah.
And I mean, I think everybody can relate to, frustrating experiences with customer service where you keep getting transferred over and over and over, and no one seems to be able to help you, and you get more and more frustrated. And yeah.
Yeah, like he's
Um,
at one point he gets connected to Ego, and he says, "Oh, hey, maybe you can help me." And Ego goes like, "Maybe? Why only maybe? It's because I'm black."
yeah.
And then of course, the people at Seth's think he just wants to talk to a white person. Then he
Hmm.
gets
Yes, yes. Everyone assumes he's racist. That
yes,
that was cute.
and he gets transferred to Molly, and Molly says, "Yeah, I heard you just wanted to talk to somebody white." And look, I get it. We gotta stay together, brother.
Yeah, yeah.
I was like, Jesus,
Well,
no, I don't want to do that.
yeah. Um, this was okay. It didn't send me in a big way, but it
Yeah,
was all right.
it had a good amount of good stuff in here, but yeah, like it didn't really have the punch like it should have. Like I did like the part where like when he transfers him to Longfellow,
Hmm.
saying, "Oh yes, well I can get you that refund, but the question is, what are you gonna do for me?"
Yeah.
And he bites his bottom lip. And then like you said, like he gets transferred to a trainee with Punky and Devin, and
Yeah.
Devin just like, hey man, you get high, but
Yeah.
she's like, no, don't ask him that. And then he gets transferred to Bowen, who is like the god of Southwest. He's like dressed up in this Aztec like god costume almost, like with a
Yeah.
headdress. It's like I am both South and West, East and North. I'm everywhere and everywhere except outside of United States and Mexico.
Yeah.
But yeah, not a bad sketch. I thought it was okay.
It was okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Written by Mikey Day and Streeter Seidel.
Oh, Mikey Streeter joint.
Yeah.
Okay.
Next up, NYPD press conference.
Yeah, this was a message from the New York Police Department. We got Jake Gyllenhaal doing a great New York accent, by the way.
Pretty good.
Yeah, I mean, excellent. No notes. They're reporting on the recent story that National Treasure Steve Buscemi has been punched. Yeah, this is a weird thing. Some guy randomly punched Steve Buscemi in the street.
Yeah,
I did read that they caught the guy
they
a
did.
few weeks back. Like the same thing happened to Rick Moranis.
Yeah,
I don't think it was the same person, but
yeah, like
this was enough for them to say it's a trend, and it became a public service announcement to stop punching character actors in the face.
right, because yeah, I mean there has been random acts of violence in New York lately, where just random people getting punched. But then also,
Mm-hmm.
like you said, Steve Buscemi got punched, Rick Moranis, and Michael Stuhlbarg got
Who
punched.
I'm not familiar with. He did not look familiar to me, and I've not heard his name before.
I should have looked that up, but yeah, like
Okay.
I mean I'm sure he's an actor, but
Yeah, no,
yeah,
I'm sure he's a real guy. I'm not familiar with his work.
right. And then of course they go into like, well, what makes a character actor, and
Mm-hmm.
it's somebody is like who's probably been on Boardwalk Empire, uh, whose IMDb has 100 entry, but it's only just the first names.
Right. If you've ever had a 3 episode guest starring arc on a show that is only initials,
Yeah,
and then they show like NCIS and SVU, and uh, I like how they said they're offering protection to character actors that we know are at risk. They say we're assigning a security detail to Stephen Root, and we've asked Paul Giamatti to shelter in place.
yeah. And then I also liked how the reporters were Heidi and Dismukes, and Dismukes is saying,
Mm-hmm.
well, and because I had the same thought, I was like, well, is
Yeah.
Giamatti still a character actor? And then
Right.
Heidi's like,
Yeah, because he headlines movies now.
yeah, he just had The Holdovers. It's a great film.
Yeah, I still got to see that. I just put that on my queue on. It's on either Amazon Prime or Paramount Plus. I saw it and I was like, "Ooh, I want to watch that."
I believe it's on Prime, Amazon Prime, and it's worth your time. I think it's a solid film. I think it should have gotten way more love.
Yeah, yeah.
But yeah,
And they ran into they went into some other beloved character actors like the always wonderful and delightful Judy Greer, Stephen Tobolowsky
yes,
from probably best known for Groundhog Day. Bing.
Walton Goggins they showed.
Yep.
Well, see, this is a weird thing because they just showed these people saying, "Oh, this guy who's in everything,
Right.
this girl, oh, she's funny, I like her." But I knew
Yeah.
the names of all these people. Like William
Yeah.
Fincher, they showed. Like, I know William
Mhm.
Fincher. He's like always the villain.
Yeah, he plays the bad guy in all these things, and yeah.
Yeah, and then it's kind of like it's like if you're also somebody who's played a girlfriend on Seinfeld, be careful, or a boyfriend on Sex and the City, be careful. And then we get a nice little cameo from the one and only Mr. John Hamm.
John Hamm, who says, "Yeah, should I be concerned? Because I can't afford anything to happen to my face. Because without this beautiful face, I'm just a tall guy with a perfect body."
That's a hilarious line.
I mean, John Hamm, you give him anything, he just fucking nails it. The man is amazing. I love that. He's apparently close by enough the 30 Rock that he will just come by at a moment's notice to do any sort of weird bit that SNL wants him to.
Yeah, absolutely. And then it kind of
And again, I know this isn't going to happen, but in a perfect and just world, this man would be making many more Fletch movies.
yeah, that one Fletch. It was a good movie, but
Don't
yeah,
sleep on Confess Fletch, people. It's awesome.
yeah, the way that movie just kind of came and went. I remember, I probably talked about it in the podcast, but like I remember,
Mm-hmm.
like them barely promoting it. I think the most promotion I saw for Confess Fletch was literally Roy Wood Jr. talking about it on his Instagram, like legitimately. I swear, like, I didn't see anything except for whatever Roy was putting out. It's like, hey, Confess Fletch is out in theaters now, and then like it was in the theater for like literally a weekend.
Yeah, yeah,
like,
and then went like right to streaming, and they just buried it. And I don't know if it was just like lost in the studio management shuffle or something like, or if it was a David Zaslav type thing where they're just like trying to write it off. But it deserves so much better. And like, I mean, how is John Hamm not like a humongous movie star right now?
He's got it all. He's hilarious. He's handsome.
Yeah,
come on.
He's handsome. He's hilarious.
Perfect body.
Yeah.
Taut, tight. But yeah, this sketch I liked quite a bit. I go so far as to say this might be my sketch of the night.
This is definitely my sketch of the night. This was great. You know, I love the whole pro character actor stance. You know, that they're the lifeblood of the entertainment industry, as they say. I agree that Stephen Root, Paul Giamatti, Judy Greer, and the others, they must be protected at all costs because they are all treasures.
Absolutely. Also, Michael Stuhlbarg. So he was the lead in A Serious Man, the Coen Brothers film. He was in Call Me by Your Name, The Shape of Water, Boardwalk Empire. What other things?
These are all things I'm aware of, but I have not actually seen. So that explains why I was not familiar.
He was in the,
and I'm sure it's my loss. I'm sure he's wonderful if he's keeping company with these folks.
Yeah, he was recently in Dope Sick. He was in one of the Fargo. Oh shoot, he was in Doctor Strange. Oh yeah, he played that other doctor. Okay. He was in Doctor Strange, too.
He played like Doctor Not So Strange.
Yeah, no, like the rival doctor that Cumberbatch had.
That's him.
That's what it says here. Yeah, Michael Stuhlbarg.
The one in the sequel where they're sitting in the church together and he's like, "Oh yeah, my cat died during the blip."
Yes, that's him. Dr. Nick West.
That's him.
Wow. Yes, Dr. Nick West. That's Michael Stuhlbarg.
Yeah, Nicodemus West, who's actually in the comics becomes. He like trains himself as a rival sorcerer.
Ooh.
And yeah, that was a neat storyline. I don't know if they're going to do that in the movies. Probably not at this point, but yeah, that was a neat storyline. Quick comic recommendation: Doctor Strange: The Oath. It's a miniseries from about maybe 10 years back at this point. Great stuff. Okay. Yeah, you can pick it up in trade paperback form. Just walk into your local comic shop, say, "I want to read Doctor Strange: The Oath."
Sounds good.
John from the SNL Nerds recommended it to me, and he's never steered me wrong yet.
Tell him the SNL Nerds sent you.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then they'll say, "What?" The comic shop, and they'll be like, I've heard of the comic. I don't know what the rest of the stuff you're talking about is, but I've heard of the comic."
SNL Nerds.
Yeah.
Our name will get you nowhere.
Word's getting out.
Yeah. But yeah, NYPD press conference, sketch of the night. I really like this. I like
sketch of the night. And again, you know, the most successful sketches in this episode were the weirdest ones.
Absolutely. Yeah. So this one was written by Mike DiCenzo, Jake Nordwind, and Josh Patton.
Wonderful job, all.
Yes.
This was like a perfect sketch, I think.
Yes. Applause all around.
Yeah.
And our final.
And I also liked how they said, like, you know, they became actors not because like they're successful not because they're super good looking, but because they're great at acting.
Yeah.
But also Judy Greer is like also super good looking.
Hey, now.
Let's be real here.
Ain't nothing wrong with that.
Yep.
All right. And we got a 10-2-1.
Yep.
Snake Eyes.
Snake Eyes. You're like, what? We're gonna watch a Nicolas Cage film? No. It's a sketch called Snake Eyes. And we're at a, you know, sort of honky tonk tavern. Jake's this dude. He's got a handlebar mustache, and he's trying to pick up on Sarah. And Sarah's like, "Hey, you better leave me alone because my boyfriend Snake Eyes isn't going to be happy to see you hitting on me, trying to pick me up."
Right, and then
James Elson Johnson comes in as her boyfriend Snake Eyes.
Yeah, like looking straight up like Lemmy from Motorhead. So
yeah,
you think he's this big badass dude, and then as soon as he talks, he's like, you know, "You shut your butt, Mr. Like it's just like this, like very, southern feminine,
really high pitched voice. I actually, like, when he first started speaking, I thought it was like Heidi or somebody doing the voice.
I did too for a minute.
Yeah, Yeah, I was like, is he just mouthing along to somebody doing the dialogue from off stage? And I think that would have been a funny idea, but then after a minute or so, I was like, oh, he's not lip syncing. Unlike some people on the show,
Oh
um,
shit!
he's actually doing a high pitched voice. So
Tell him. Yeah, but this sketch is a weird one.
it was a weird one. Not as great weird as the other ones of the night, but weird enough.
Yeah,
It's what you expect for a 10-to-1 sketch.
yeah,
Um,
I mean, JJ Snake has a sort of sassy voice, and it's like, you better knock it off, Mister. Or
mhm.
I'll introduce you to my two fists. This one's called Cool It, and this one's called Knock It Off.
Yeah,
And then
I like the sound effect when they were shooting each other's looks when they were doing the sound effect stuff.
yeah, it took me a minute to understand what was happening. Like, so instead of shooting each other's with guns, they were
Hmm.
shooting each other looks, and
Right.
those look shots were equivalent to
If looks could kill. Yeah.
yes, exactly. And so they were like kind of shooting looks at each other, and like Jake was like, "Oh, you almost got me with that one,"
Yeah.
and like
Yeah. And Jake like kills James Austin Johnson with his look.
with a look, yeah. And I also like this little runner they had where Bowen was like one of the bartenders, and like
Uh huh.
anytime something shocking happened, he'd go, "Oh!" and like he'd drop a
Hmm.
glass. I think at
Uh
one
huh.
point he even dropped like a pineapple daiquiri or something. Like it was like made out of part of an actual pineapple. Like
Hmm.
he just constantly just like gasps and drops a glass on the floor, and that happened like 3 times. I was like, all right, that's a nice little runner.
Yeah. And so like James Austin Johnson, Snake Eyes is killed by Jake's look, and then he's bleeding out on the floor, and he asks Jake to raise his child with Lexi. Um, yeah, oddish, but
Yes, and we
it's all right.
it was an odd one. It was but it was all right. Yeah, like it ends with Snake Eyes tombstone saying Snake Eyes finally knocked it off.
I mean, it's no NYPD press conference, but
No, but yeah, this one was nice and weird. Nice and weird.
yeah.
This one was written by Mike DeScenzo, Andrew Dismukes, James Austin Johnson, Sarah Sherman, with an assist from Asha Ward.
Nice assistant, Asha Ward there.
Some good assistant.
That was some good assistant you did right there.
Yeah, yeah. And
Um,
that's the episode, guys.
yeah, we had a quick little tribute to the late great Dabney Coleman, who
Yes.
passed away and hosted SNL back in 1987.
Right.
Uh, Dabney Coleman, how good was that guy, man?
Oh, he was solid.
He was. I don't think I've seen him in a thing where he wasn't great. Man.
No, he always brought it. I mean, of course, like the big things he did were he's probably best known for 9 to 5.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, wasn't I feel like he had a TV
Tootsie.
Tootsie.
He did a TV show in the early '80s called Buffalo Bill, which
Ooh,
was like ended too soon because he was playing a very unlikable protagonist on the show, which was kind of a revolutionary idea back then. People were not ready for that.
yeah, I mean that
So
was
it kind of struggled in the ratings. But I remember like Joanna Cameron was on that, Gina Davis was on that, Max Wright was on it.
ooh.
A great cast on that show.
Yeah, I mean, like I think people kind of said like he was kind of known for just playing like jerks and a-holes.
Mm-hmm.
War Games, of course he
War
was
Games.
in.
He did a movie called Cloak and Dagger
Ooh,
with Henry Thomas, the kid from E.T., which this was on HBO like all the time when I was a kid, and it was about like the kid was um, he was really into like this fantasy role playing game, like a spy role playing game,
right.
and Dabney Coleman was the kid's father, but he was also playing the super spy of the kid's imagination, Jack Flack. And they somehow got caught up in this real espionage thing. And I remember it being a fun movie. I probably haven't seen it in a couple of decades, but I
Okay.
remember it being good. And Dabney Coleman was awesome in it.
Yeah, yeah.
He's even in an old episode of Columbo.
Ooh, okay.
Yeah,
Yeah.
there's like a very young Dabney Coleman, no mustache,
No
but
mustache.
but you hear the voice and you're like, yep, that's Dabney Coleman, all right.
Yeah, I mean Mary Hartman. He was in a movie we've talked about on this podcast, How to Beat the High Cost of Living. Check him out.
That's
Too.
right. Yeah, he played the cop in that. He had a little romance with Jane Curtin in that, as I recall.
Yeah, yeah. On Golden Pond, he was in.
Oh, he's great. He's great in Golden Pond. He's like Jane Fonda's boyfriend in
Yeah,
that.
The Man with One Red Shoe, and of course, who could forget the Muppets Take Manhattan?
I mean, I've never seen the Muppets Take Manhattan, so I
What?
can forget it very easily.
Are you not a Muppet fan?
I am a Muppet fan, but like you got to understand, Muppets Take Manhattan that came out in like 1985, I think, or 1984 maybe.
That
So I
84.
was
Yeah.
84. Okay, so I would have been like 12, going on 13.
So you were too mature for Muppets Take Me. Too
Yeah,
good
I
for
was on that
Muppets.
cusp where I was like, oh, I'm not gonna watch that kids movie.
Yes. Wearing
Also, I thought I still to this day I find Miss Piggy's perm very disconcerting.
Wow, that is a take I don't believe I've ever heard before.
She got that perm in Muppets Take Manhattan, and then suddenly she just looked like Loretta Swit to me.
Huh. I
And
can see
and
it. I can see
yeah,
it.
yeah, and I found it very disturbing, disconcerting, and I still have not seen Muppets Take Manhattan from beginning to end to this day.
It's
I
shocking.
love Muppet Movie. I love Great Muppet Caper. I've just never gotten around to seeing Muppets Take Manhattan. I should watch it sometime.
Shocking. This is shocking. Wow.
Yeah,
Wow.
I'm not proud of this. I mean,
Now you know my secret shame.
I'm not intentionally avoiding it or anything. I'm not opposed to seeing it. If you came over tomorrow night and you said, John, let's watch Muppets Take Manhattan, I would be like, how did you get into my house? And then I would say, well, yeah, sure, okay. You don't have a gun, right? And okay, no, then okay, yeah, then let's watch Muppets Take Manhattan.
Yeah.
Yes.
Let's sweep up all this broken glass I caused by coming through your window, and then let's
Yeah,
watch.
yeah. Let's dispose of the bodies of the
Yes.
decapitated Sarah Sherman, who's sitting over here,
Yep.
and then we'll sit down and watch the Muppets Take Manhattan.
Yeah. That'll be a nice little weekend.
Yeah, I know that's where the Muppet Babies come from, and I know that Kermit and Piggy sort of, kind of get married in that.
Yeah. Like I think Piggy kind of tricked him, but he was cool with
Mm-hmm.
it. It was a weird.
Yeah,
It was a weird ending, but yeah,
yeah, yeah,
it's kind of sweet.
yeah. I
Uh,
mean, yeah, that's the way all great movie romances end is that somebody tricking somebody into marriage.
yeah, entrapment. The the
Mm-hmm.
love language we all understand.
Anyway, so Dabney Coleman,
Yes,
he will be missed.
that's R.I.P. R.I.P.
Uh,
Yeah,
and
and
then
go back and watch the episode he hosted. It's actually a pretty solid episode too.
yeah, it's 1987, so that was a good year for the show. So I don't doubt it. And the good nights. Did you see Sarah just like straight up humping Bowen at the at the good nights?
I did not. Oh
She
my.
like jumped into his arms. Like Sarah and Bowen, they have like this one corner that they always sort of stand in, and they must be really close off camera because they always just seem to be thick as thieves during the good nights. And
Yeah,
at the very end, she just, everybody's kind of celebrating because it's the end of the season. She just kind of jumps into his arms, and
yeah,
it was cute.
yeah. No, the two of them really have like a strong bond. It seems like a really like genuine
Hmm.
friendship. And
Yeah, I'm kind of surprised we don't see them do more sketches together and stuff.
that's very true. That's very true. I'd like to see them together more. Like, I mean, if they got the chemistry, then they should
Hmm.
like do more stuff together for sure.
Yeah,
Absolutely. But yeah, overall, not a bad way to close out the season, I'd
I
say.
think it's a pretty solid episode overall. I mean, there
Yeah.
were some sketches I wasn't too nuts about or I was disappointed in, but I think there was more good than bad, and it's certainly the best episode they've had in a few weeks. So I'm
Yeah.
I'm pretty happy with the finale.
Yeah. I'm happy with the way things ended too. So
Yeah,
not bad, guys. Not bad, SNL. But
yeah. I mean the NYC press conference,
that was yes,
chef's kiss.
that was solid for sure.
Yeah,
Uh,
highlight of the episode.
yeah. But enough about what we think. What do you guys think? What do you think,
What
fine
do you,
listeners?
the people, think?
Yeah. So let's go.
You have opinions too,
You have a
but you don't
voice.
have a podcast like we do. So
Yeah.
we're going to boost your opinions.
You're welcome.
Yes, because we're magnanimous that
Yes.
way.
We're tough but fair.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, let's see what the people thought. Nick's Door at Nick's Door saying it was fine, but it felt like every sketch was a less good version of a previous sketch. Even the joke swap seemed less cutting than normal.
Mm.
Jake Gyllenhaal felt very Beck Bennett.
I'm not sure if that's a compliment or a criticism.
I
I'm assuming a criticism from his general tone, but
Yeah. And
hmm.
season 49 has just kind of fizzled out with these last three. Mm.
Wow.
Uh,
Nick, not happy.
yeah. Nick ain't having it.
No, he is not. Um, okay, let's see what else we got. We got Boardman gets paid. It says, "Hi guys, long time listener, first time caller. By the time you get to this, you would have already talked about the episode, and it probably will be funnier than the actual episode."
Ooh.
Oh wow. Well, Boardman, lucky for you, we're recording late this week, so we get to read your comment.
Ah.
It says, "Sad way to go out on, but at least we have each other. Love y'all."
Interesting.
Aw, we love you too. And Boardman always makes a point of saying like, "Hey, love you guys, love listening to you guys," and he's always so supportive and
I
positive, and we
Yeah.
really appreciate that. That's fun.
Yeah, I appreciate the positivity that you give, man.
Yeah, and also, I love that we have a circle of people who regularly comment every week now.
Yeah.
So,
We got our own little clubhouse here, a little get along gang.
mm-hmm, mm-hmm.
Minette
So,
Moretti says, not bad. I think this is better. So compared to the last I think this is better, so compared to the last time Jake hosted, which is always a plus for me. Mainly, I took away that the writers were earnestly trying to end the season on a positive note before season 50, which I feel they accomplished. All right.
mm,
Mm-hmm. Gauntlet is thrown down.
okay. Let's see. Jacob at Dark Matter underscore 362. What happened? Even Weekend Update was a letdown. The first time they did civil rights guest worked because we thought they might be real. This time fails because the joke was already revealed. Engagement and Scooby Doo tie for the sketch of the night, and that's just sad. I don't know. Maybe I'm in a bad mood, but what the F?
Wow, people were really all right, interesting. Okay.
Yeah, people.
Yeah, you guys are
This is
entitled to your
people are
feelings.
harsher on this episode
Yeah.
than I was expecting.
Usually we're the salty ones. What's going on here?
I know.
Uh
It's weird.
Yeah, John Ananias at BurtonS92 saying, I was indifferent to much of this finale, which felt indifferent itself at times, but I appreciate Gyllenhaal's gusto, even if I don't find him a total natural as a host. Joke Swap was the highlight, though bringing on another sober figure to sit by Jost felt unwise.
Hmm. Okay.
I
Yeah, I
might,
guess it was a bit repetitive, but
yeah,
I didn't mind it.
I didn't mind it, but I see what you mean. It was like, oh, they're doing this thing again. I get what SNL does quite a bit. Like if something works the first
Drive it
time,
into the ground.
yes,
Yes,
and
absolutely. I mean, what else are you going to do with it?
yeah,
I mean,
yeah,
let a successful comedy bit just stand on its own?
yeah.
Come up with something original?
No,
No.
sequels,
God,
baby,
no.
sequels.
Got to franchise this mother.
Merchandising.
Let's see. We got Techie at Uncle Scrooge Duck says, "Love the Jake,
You
love the Jake."
love it, the
Uh,
Jake, huh?
no. He's doing Seinfeld.
Oh, okay. I was going.
Yeah,
I was
hate the Jake,
okay.
love the Jake. Felt a bit thrown together, but serviceable. The Scooby Doo sketch may have met several fantasies in one for a friend.
Oh
Okay, I'm
boy.
not quite sure what you mean there. I hope the fantasy wasn't the decapitation. I
Yeah.
mean, not judging. I'm
We
just saying,
we may have to report you to the authorities,
yeah,
Techie. So
yeah.
so yeah, the cops are on their way.
I mean, if it's just like a Velma Daphne thing going on, yeah, I get it.
That
Okay,
I get.
yeah.
But if you like to have your arm ripped off in a secret door passageway, then
Again, we don't want to kink shame.
yes, we don't. But uh,
Yeah. Okay.
yeah. And
Um,
final one from Lucho Blanco at El Blanco Nazoa. Yeah, there we go.
Nazoa.
Yes.
Yeah.
Not bad for a season finale. Jake totally committed. Good mix of weirdness and silliness, though more of the latter. Lots of
Mm.
creativity everywhere with good writing, escalations, and productions. The rabbi lady's face and weekend update joke swap was priceless. No MTG. Why? A solid 7.
Yeah, so he's weirded out by no Marjorie Taylor Greene
I really think because
Yeah.
it happened so late in the week that they just didn't have
Hmm.
time to write anything for it.
Yeah.
Like honestly, if this happened on like a Tuesday, they would have been all over it
Yeah.
for
I'll see
sure.
you next Tuesday.
Heyo,
That's about the level of the discourse in Congress right now.
waka waka.
Actually, that's a few steps up from the level of discourse we have in Congress right now.
You're not wrong.
Yeah, didn't they have a joke on Weekend Update? They were like, "Is this the Waffle House of Representatives?"
Yes,
And
Waffle House of Representatives. Yeah, I
yeah,
heard that joke and I was like, that's like some shit I could have come up with.
oh wow,
You know,
don't sell yourself short.
no offense. Yeah, that's true. I mean, it's no
Um,
cicada ladies, but yeah,
yeah,
that's actually
but
pretty funny. Seriously, cicada ladies.
well, thank you. I'm glad you liked it.
Yeah. And that's the episode, guys.
Yeah,
Thanks.
but you know what? I've got a surprise for you.
What?
You know something we haven't had in a little while?
What?
We haven't had a review of the podcast in a while, but I was checking on the Apple podcasts, and we got a review.
Ooh
This is
wee.
one I missed. It's from back in February, and it's from uh, Kriya88, who
Okay.
gives us 5 stars. So thank you for that.
Thank you, sir. Thank you.
Um,
Thank you. I almost
the
said
headline
sir,
is
but
just
then I realized I didn't know.
the headline is just sure.
Love it.
He says, I disagree with a lot of their opinions / taste, and one of the dudes seems like he doesn't even want to be there.
Go on.
I feel like that's talking about me.
You don't know that. 'Cause I'm just as indifferent as you are.
Okay, all right. Well, I think I tend to be in a mood more often than you, but I don't know. But no, I do want to be here. I do enjoy this. This is often one of the highlights of my week. Even if I didn't like the show itself, I always enjoy talking about the show with Darren.
Yay. Yay.
Um, says, so one of the dudes seems like he doesn't even want to be there, but quality SNL pods with hosts who are actual knowledgeable fans are hard to come by. So I keep coming back.
Keep coming back for more.
I like how this person sounds like they don't particularly enjoy the podcast half the time, but they're like almost forced to listen to it.
Yeah.
So this kind of amuses me.
Yes, I have an addiction. I got
So
a
I keep
fever.
coming. Just when I think I'm out, they pull me back in.
I got a fever, and the only prescription is SNL nerds.
Well, so I mean, thank you for kind of tolerating us, I guess.
Thank you for that backhanded compliment.
Yeah. I'll try to sound like I want to be here more often.
Yeah. Yeah. So leave great reviews like that for ladies and gentlemen. Actually, maybe a little bit better if you could.
Yeah, but hey, they still gave us 5 stars,
Yes.
so I can't really complain about that.
That's true. That's very
so
true.
thank you for that.
We do thank you for that. That
we could use some more 5-star reviews to boost us up in the algorithm.
Yes. So get on it, people.
If you enjoy the podcast, or if you feel like we're enjoying the podcast, give us a review, rate us, and review us.
Right. Just if you enjoy our ramblings, let us know you care. You could leave a review. That costs you nothing. 5 stars on Apple or whatever podcast streaming thing you listen to our podcast to. Or you could donate to our Patreon at Non-Productive. Give us a little bit of money. Show us a little bit of cash.
Non-Productive.com. Just toss a few shekels our way and say I'm doing this because I like the SNL nerds and I like what they do and I want to support what they do.
Yeah.
And I have crushes on them both, and
Ooh.
I want them to be my boyfriends.
Ooh.
Yeah, and that's, I mean, again, very flattered. Probably not going to happen.
Yeah, no.
Very flattered. Darren's married.
Please, I can't go down that road.
You can't break up a marriage.
Yes, keep my home intact.
Even though it would create a lot of drama for the podcast.
Yeah. Ooh. Yeah. Some real Housewives stuff.
I mean, if you think that secret baby was something else,
ooh.
I mean,
my God, it'd be like Young and the Restless on this motherfucker. Yeah. And
I mean, Darren, I'm not saying you should end your marriage. I'm just saying it wouldn't hurt.
Think of the ratings.
Now I'm flashing back to Lauren advising Chris Kattan when they were shooting the Roxbury Night at the Roxbury movie.
Oh wow. Oh yeah. Did we talked about that whole?
Oh, we did.
Oof.
Oh, we did. That was a whole mess. I read excerpts from Chris Kattan's memoir.
Yeah, like listeners, if you go listen to or read Chris Kattan's memoirs about the shooting of Night at the Roxbury, I mean, holy hell, Chris,
It's wild.
He really went
It's
through
wild. The behind the scenes on that movie. They should make a movie about the behind the scenes on that movie.
Yeah,
Holy crap.
Kattan really went through it. Like,
yeah,
woof.
Yeah, ended a friendship, ended a comedy partnership.
Yeah, it was rough.
But this comedy partnership's going to keep on rolling on. We're the SNL season may be over, but we're going to be back next week with our season 49 in review with our traditional special guest Dennis Perkins. I think I can say this because he just agreed to be on it. So
that's right. That's a binding contract.
That's right. We have an oral contract.
That's right. Oral.
We're going to go through the highs and the lows of season 49, what we liked, what we didn't like.
Yeah.
We're going to look at the Wikipedia pictures. We're going to shoot the shit, man.
Yeah, shoot the shit. It'll probably go long, and we'll probably talk about our thoughts on season 50. Like, what's going to happen? Is going to be any shakeups? Is anything going to change? Is Lauren going to stick around? Like, what's going to happen with this?
Yeah, no, he's going to leave the show right before season 50.
I think it's time. I think it's best if I do.
I think I'm going to step down. I think I'm good at 49. Yeah.
Yeah. So, tune in for that season 49 wrap up, with our good friend Dennis Perkins, and as always,
yeah, always a good time.
Yeah,
always a good time. And then we're gonna go into our summer format of watching and reviewing movies starring SNL alums. So if you have a suggestion of a movie or maybe even a TV show starring an SNL alum that we haven't covered on the podcast yet, let us know. Just tweet at us at SNL Nerds Show on the Twitter sphere.
Yes, absolutely. And as always, you can follow me at Darren Credible, DARIN Credible, on all platforms.
And you can follow me on the social media platforms at Trumbull Comic. That's TRUMBULL on the word comic.
Bam!
So, yeah. And, let us know what you want to hear on the podcast. Because we're doing this for you. We're doing it for our own amusement, but we're also doing it for you, the people.
We do it all for you. We're like that, what was that babysitter in The Omen? Damien, it's all for you.
Yeah, and then we throw ourselves off the building. Did that lady impale herself on something?
Hey, I think so. I don't know. It's been a while.
She dies in some hideous manner.
Yeah. Pretty gruesome.
Yeah.
Like this one.
Anyway, what a great note to leave them on. It's like a Sarah Sherman sketch, man.
Right. Yeah.
So, yeah, but please join us next week for our season 49 in review show. But until then, nerds out.
This has been a non-productive media presentation. Executive producer Frank Hablawi. This program and many others like it on the Non-Productive Network is distributed under a Creative Commons Attribution Non-Commercial No Derivatives license. Please share it, but ask before trying to change it or sell it. For more information, visit non-productive.com.